What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching Dave Beyond TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And today I'm going to do my moon phase reading slash energetic overview. But just cause like I feel like I got two parts of the energetic overview. Cause like really these are two segments that I'm working with now. So I do the moon phase readings, right? New moon and full moon, so we could just keep track of where the vibration is, or the sky and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the moon is how we manifest in general. So it's always important to know where the moon is, and it's with the world that we in at the current moment. And then there's the energetic overview, where it's just kind of like me breaking down various transits, going in depth but not in depth. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a Pisces, so I'm structured, but I'm really not. Like my south node, really like my south node is in Taurus in the sixth house, so it's like slick. The way I go about my life, it's like weird because it's almost like I came here with all this knowing how to be structured and shit like that, but like my whole path and then my energy in general is to be not structured. So it'd be like it'd be interchangeable. I'd be structured, but then I'm like, fuck that part though. I ain't gonna go over that detail. All right, but we gonna get back on track and shit like that. So you know what I'm saying? It's just how I work this shit out. But for the most part, like this time around, I got half of the energetic overview in that trauma video, and then I got the other half. Well, technically the other half, because I'm talking about transits and things of that nature, but it's really just the moon phase reading and shit like that. But anyway. So with this new moon in Aquarius, right? And I took notes just so I could be extra on track. So really, with the new moon in Aquarius right now, right? So this is in my perspective, and like just understand this, right? A couple disclaimers. One, you know what's going on with you. I don't know what's going on with you. I just like what I'm doing is I'm perceiving energies and I'm breaking them down. So if I say something that don't resonate, don't take my head off. Just kind of either see how it can apply to your life, or you know what I'm saying, or just turn me off. Like you know what I'm saying, it's straight up like that. You know what I'm saying. So and then also the next disclaimer is that understand that like we try to stay away from divination. So divination is like trying to predict what's going to happen tomorrow, or trying to what I'm saying, when I'm talking about these energies, these are from purely me, doing my own, what I'm saying, my own, I'm tapping into my own space, right? I'm tapping in and trying to jump into the collective, and what I'm saying, it's my own little psychic energy, right? If you want to call it that. And at the same time, it's also me looking at where the placements are and just using what I understand about the planets and kind of what I'm feeling and putting them together. But don't take what I say as in this is the only way the energies can play out. You know what I'm saying? You know, as we go through the experiences of each day, new information is gonna come to light, new situations, new things. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, take everything with a grain of salt. Don't take this as law. Take this as this is just me speaking on some energies. And last disclaimer is that this is stuff you already know. So I'm not teaching you nothing, and that's another incentive to make sure that you not taking every word I say and clinging on to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on energies, and hopefully these can help you get an idea of kind of what space you need to be in as you go through these different transits. But remember, at the end of the day, you always kind of have to be aware of your own space, be aware of what you going through and what's real to you. I keep biting my fucking lip, bro. Talking too fast. But you know what I'm saying? Stay connected with what's real to you. Cause we all do this, and just cause I'm talking on a channel and shit like that, don't mean that you ain't tapped in as well. So just so we can keep things clear, I just felt like I needed to say that. Just what I'm saying, cause with these moon phase readings, I'm talking about moon phases that's what I'm saying, all the way to the full moon, you know what I'm saying? So, that's a far way out, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm picking up now might change by the time we get to the full moon and stuff like that. That's why I do another one when the full moon kick in. But this is just me kind of looking at the energies and doing what I'm feeling and what I'm picking up, and just trying to tap in and give y'all a clear perspective on something that you could utilize in order to make sure that you planting the right seeds at this time. You know what I'm saying? So just wanted to get that out the way. So with this new moon in Aquarius, this is like building a new mind. A lot of things is going on with our mental faculties, right? And since it's a stellium going on here, and the Mercury is currently in retrograde, what I kind of came, what I'm picking up is that this isn't really, since it's new moon, it is a new mentality that we're building. But due to just the energies being so concentrated on this one area, I feel like this is something more so that we building upon. So when it comes to your mentality, right? So it's kind of, it'll play out like this, right? Either you're going to come to a new decision on how to construct your mentality, basically. Or it'll be a situation where you're kind of looking around at your associations and you're kind of pinpointing what you need to break free from. That's kind of what we was doing all the way up until this point. Now that we in the new moon, the next couple of days, you're probably going to be starting to make moves on these new mentalities. And that's what you should be doing, starting to make moves on these new mentalities. Now remember, when the moon is new, it's kind of weak. You know what I'm saying? This is like weak. This is brand new energy, right? Think of a newborn baby. The newborn baby can't do nothing. You know, it's just sit there and cry because, you know what I'm saying? So you have to, this is energy that you might not feel the most comfortable in, but you're going to have to start putting in some work, aka the moon is now waxing. So you got to start filling that cup up with not only actions, but mentalities and feelings and emotions that actually coincide with whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. So right now, today, you should be doing your meditations. You should be writing down in your notes what it is that you're trying to actually intend to do for the day and things of that nature, and getting everything on track so that you can have focus and clairvoyance for as we go through these different transits and we get hit with different energies, right? So cool. So off the bat, like I said, we build a new mentality, but it's not brand spanking new. It's more like building upon the new insights that we were starting to come into as the moon was finishing this phase, and now we here. Now we in the new moon, so now we have to get up and start actually participating in whatever it is that we was getting a hint at. You know what I'm saying? So what I wrote down is becoming fixated on your new mentality. Due to the stellium and here in the sky right now, in the current retrograde, this plays out more like a refurbishment rather than an entirely brand new. But nonetheless, you should be shedding mentalities that no longer serve you and taking what you learned from the previous Cap Moon phase to build upon and upgrade your current mentality and commit to that change, aka fixated it. So that's kind of that's what we doing right now. And you know, shout out to Peace Dealer, because like, you know, he always be having those like dope ass titles and shit like that. And this is what I feel like is really like a cosmic mentality upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Where now, you know, because when we talk about an Aquarian mentality, this is like the final air sign. So the air signs already deal with logic, but this is like the air sign that is dealing with science, you know what I'm saying, astronomical type of information and things of that nature, and just like, you know, slightly occult knowledge and things of that nature, you know, things that are like hidden, like these are like the real studiers, like the you know what I'm saying, esoteric texts, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that, like, you know, but not without getting too lost into that. So that's where the moon is right now as far as being a new moon. So that's kind of where you need to set your intentions. Is your attention should be directed in the area of creating a new mentality that fits your new freedom. Because, you know, that's another thing about Aquarius, that it's all about freedom. You know, it's slightly influenced by Uranus, so, or co-ruled by Uranus. And Uranus is about change, rebellion, opposition, but ultimately uniqueness and individuality. You know what I'm saying? So we all got to be individuals right now. So if you are associated with certain things that are putting a clamp on your ability to be an individual, that off the bat should be things that you are putting in place to be like, okay, I need to change this. So breaking free. So right now might be a time where you start to separate. So you might have been getting feelings coming up, right? That damn, I'm in an area where my mentality is restricted, or my ability to be myself is restricted. So you should have already been putting together pieces and being like, oh, okay, I need to actually start to separate. So now that we're in the new moon, you can actually act on these things, right? And so as you act on these things, you're gonna need a new way to construct your mentality, because whoever you're associated with, you by default, based upon just relating to them and trying to, you know, keep up with them. Because like when you talk about our social interactions, we keep up with these things, and keeping up with these things requires us to think a certain way, either about these people, right? Even if you don't like these people, and every time they come around, you start to be like, man, I can't stand this motherfucker. You still developing a mentality, and that the mentality does play out. You know what I'm saying? Whether you like it or not, whoever it is that you are around and associating with, especially the ones that you don't get along with, you just got to associate with, like co-workers and things of that nature. You don't like this person, but you know you got to work with them, so you might choose to be relatable, or you might choose to rebel against them. And you know what I'm saying? But however you play it out, right here, the new moon is going to give you that extra oomph to be like, all right, yeah, now's the time I need to go ahead and separate. But now when you separate, you're going to have to rebuild a new mentality or refurbish your mentality to where you don't get sucked back into whatever it is that they had you lost in. You know what I'm saying? And that plays out even with the retrograde. The retrograde is bringing up old shit, that old mentalities that we trying to break free from. So right here is like really a great time for liberation and freedom. You know what I'm saying? And I like liberation. I gotta check what that word actually means, because like if I'm not mistaken, it means something else than what I'm thinking. But regardless, freedom. You know what I'm saying? You're breaking free from old mentalities and things of that nature, so that you can have that space to be a unique individual. So going into the Pisces moon, right? I wrote down, explore this new mentality and add meaning and reasonings to the metaphorical cup, aka the mentality that you are building upon. Fill that cup with emotions and feelings of prosperity and other positive vibrations. So off the bat, like I talked about this in a couple videos back, it's like right now this mentality plays out like a cup. You could either have a rinky-dink solo cup with holes at the bottom, or you can have a nice golden chalice that's just right for you. You know what I'm saying? It fits your hand perfectly. It's like you ain't even got to modify how you hold and position your hand. It fits you perfectly, right? Boom. So that's kind of how you want to be understanding this shit right now. It's like, how do you want to build your cup? So the mentality is already what you're working on. And now that the moon is in Pisces, you want to fill that with positive shit that refers to your dreams. And understand, remember, this is the space that we're going into next as far as the sun. So this is going to be our next area of focus. You don't want to jump the gun and go too far, but this is where, like I said, you are always preparing for the next phase. Life is a progression. So understand that when you're in this moment right now. What are you doing currently to get you set up and situated for the next moment? Don't try to limit all possibilities, and don't try to get too fixated and overanalyze what will be and get lost in potential, but just understand that whatever you're doing in the present is going to reflect in the future. So boom, off the bat, you already know that what kind of space you need to be in when you're in this phase. So when the moon is going through Pisces, it's like, okay, dream time. So I got this new mentality that I'm working on, but let me fill it up with a bunch of positive emotions so that I don't get outweighed by self-doubt or illusions. And also another thing, be careful not to be lost into an illusion based upon, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to keep checking yourself, making sure that you're not participating too deeply into an illusion. Now, finally, when we go, I said finally, we we ain't nowhere near the end. So we go into Aries moon, right? So Aries moon, I wrote down, start to act on things with that new mentality and don't be afraid to make mistakes. So right off the bat, you got Chiron here. So when the moon gets here, you might be too shy. You might be shy and not want to make mistakes. You got this new mentality. You starting to break free from what was keeping you captive. So you might I don't really know. Like, should I act on this? I'm gonna tell you right now, go ahead and act on it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and act on it. And I say that because it's like you want to start to experience. You want to start to put these things into play, because Aries is going to give you that extra oomph. And then there is a sextile going on with a lot of the other like with that stellium. So you already know it's going to be this opportunity for you to actually get out there and experiment. Now you want to be, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to. I never want to advise people to go beyond their means. You know what I'm saying? Living beyond your means is always catastrophic. And what I mean by that is, you could look at that as material, right? But I'm actually talking about energetically. A lot of times we may act in certain. This even plays out if you have, like, for instance, if you have a certain moon that doesn't really match well with your sun. Like, for instance, say you have, like, an opposition. Like, if you have a Cap moon and a Cancer sun, for instance, you're going to manifest things like a Capricorn. If you're not aware of your energies, you'll fuck around and manifest a bunch of shit that hit that. You'll manifest a bunch of Capricorn shit, but your sun is left to deal with everything that you manifested. And this plays out even like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ever had a girl, right? My homies, you ever had a girl, or even females too, because you can have a dude like this. You ever have, but it plays out in females a lot more, because the females be manifesting for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, manifesting 10 times more than the men. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's not to say, I don't want you to get lost in who's like anyway. When on my homeboys, if you have a female who's really attractive and things of that nature, or maybe even like really reckless, she might manifest certain situations where now you have to fight. Like, so you'll be out in public and your girl just being herself, she'll attract a swole ass nigga, right? Or she might be talking crazy to somebody else, and then it'll ultimately lead you to get into a fight. You get sucked into that because now she done manifested something that you're left to handle. So that's like your moon sign manifesting a situation that your sun sign is left to handle. So your moon sign might manifest, like, if you got a Cap moon, a bunch of Capricorn-like situations, right? Now you have to act, you got to handle it with your sun, but your sun might be in Cancer, so it's like an opposition. It's like you could easily be outweighed by it. It might be some shit that is completely not, like some shit that you don't even feel like you can handle, and it can lead to a catastrophic moment, like you being transformed or getting your ass beat and stuff like that for the sake of your woman or whoever you with. You know what I'm saying? And like, vice versa, ladies, you might be with a man that's too reckless and stuff like that. So, or he might be cheating. And so, like, because he's reckless and he, having sex with various different people, he brings you back a STD. So you done manifested something that came from him and his behavior, you know what I'm saying? And like, but that's just how, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Guilty by association type shit, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like, getting back to this, you know what I'm saying? So the what was I even saying, bro? I done took my ass off track, bro. Talking about that shit. But real talk, but just with the Aries moon, you want to start acting on these things with this new mentality and things of that nature. So you don't want to be too living, going beyond your means. So energetically, you don't want to do two things that are too reckless, too individualistic. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you actually are planning to build something with other people. You know what I'm saying? Because when we talk about the age of Aquarius, and we know that it's really the age of centaurs and things of that nature, but when we talk about this new age that we're going into, and just Aquarius, we're in the last phases of Aquarius, but we got a lot of energy in Aquarius still, even after it moves. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have Saturn there for a while. We're going to have Jupiter there for a while. Venus going to be there for a little minute, things of that nature. And so, and Mercury there. So you don't want to overdo this individual energy and create a moment for where you're completely stranded by yourself. And with the moon being in Aries, it's going to create opportunities where you could go overboard in that. And then those would be mistakes that you don't want to make, mistakes that you actually did go too far. You know what I'm saying? So be careful on that tip. But for the most part, you do want to go ahead and participate and start to test out this new mentality, act on certain things, and then act on certain things, and don't be afraid to make these mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Because when the moon is next to Chiron, it'd be like mistakes, like, you know what I'm saying, if you're playing good seeds, these would be mistakes that you actually end up learning a lot more from, and that you actually end up appreciating after it's all said and done. And then we're going to go into the Taurus moon. And so when the Taurus moon hits, this is when you want to start to sit back and make sense out of the experiences you went through while the moon was in Aries. What worked, what didn't work, how you can improve it. And also keep in mind that the sun has reached the cusp. So this is a good time to start to reevaluate and check if the seeds that were planted need to be rearranged. So this is like, since the moon, since the sun is going into Pisces, we're going to start to feel that cuspy energy. So if things might get a little foggy, but this is why it's important when the moon, like that's why it's important right now to start to to make those final solidifications. I don't know if that's the right word. Final solidifications on that mentality that you're building. And like we constantly upgrading, right? But you want to make sure that the main mentality that you want to center in, whatever it is that you're trying to get involved in, like, and just to make this a little more clear, it's like, mentalities, it's like, you might your mentality might be like, I'm going to manifest my dreams, you know what I'm saying? So the mentality that you in is being fixated on, being focused on making those dreams real. So being fixated on a mentality is really nothing more, nothing less than you just having conviction about something. You know what I'm saying? Having conviction, and whenever you get thoughts that don't coincide with whatever you're convicted on, it's like you kick those away. You know what I'm saying? You kick those away. You create a mental box for yourself, right? And you want to be careful not to box yourself in, but you want to create a mental box to where whenever you get hit with thoughts and influences that are outside that box, that are trying to make you doubt whatever it is that you focused on, you have the strong enough conviction to be like, nah, I'm staying focused. I'm locked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm locked in. And remember, with that Pisces energy, it's very flowy. So it's easy to get thrown off your path when you're a Pisces, or dealing with Pisces energy. It's easy to get influenced. It's easy to get, you know what I'm saying? So that Aquarius energy, fixating on that mentality is going to help us in the long run. And we see that now. And so with the moon being in Taurus, right, not only is the moon exalted, right, but we're gonna be highly reactionary, so you want to be careful you're not over exhausting yourself. But there's also going to be a slight learning process, but also a slight opportunity, just because it's on that cusp. So the learning is going to be the learning is going to be looking at the experiences that you just went through when the moon was in Aries, and seeing what's working, what's not working, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Because logic and practicality, even though they're both yang like elements and things of that nature, they deal with the left brain, if you will, right? There are two different aspects of it. One of them is thinking, one of them is be internal, like internal practicalizing. You know what I'm saying? When you're thinking and communicating, these are external facets. When you're internal and you're making sense out of things, these are internal. So this is going to be you also, like, maybe, reevaluating some of the new associations you might be making as well. You know what I'm saying? You might have chose to break free, but you jumped into new associations. And so that Aries moon, you just participating. You're going to know, okay, this is a proper association, or this is, make sense out of whatever you're associating with as well. Like, does this new association even make sense with what I'm trying to build? Does this new association actually help me feel free? Or am I actually too far gone? Am I getting too far away from what I'm actually trying to connect with and associate with? Does this, you know what I'm saying? Because you might be trying to associate with some shit that just doesn't make sense for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, you know what I'm saying? You want to be a basketball player, but you associated with, you done built associations in astrophysics. It's like, okay, that's cool, but like, does it actually make sense with what your dream and goal is? You trying to be a basketball player, but you getting, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool to have different associations, but does this make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, just as far as what you're trying to do, going forward. So, and so, that cusp, like I said, when the cusp, you know what I'm saying, on the other side of the cusp, the opportunity side, it's like, this is the opportunity though to also just have the because you'll be tapped in, you start to be focused on more Piscean like things, and then that sextiles with Taurus, and so there's going to be an opportunity for you to kind of, to actually have the feelings involved with trying to make sense out of things. So it's like you're going to be able to feel your way through. Okay, it's like you'll start to kind of pick up some of that Pisces energy and able to kind of feel your way and be like, okay, is this really what I want to keep building upon? You know what I'm saying? That's why I said reevaluate and rearrange. And so wherever you can start to pinpoint where things might not be making sense, but also don't actually coincide with how you want to feel, or you know what I'm saying? Because that when the sun goes into Pisces, it's going to be more so on us focused on feeling connected, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's going to be this in-between type of energy where it's like you can kind of start to get your senses back. You know what I'm saying? Get your senses back about things, and start to really know, okay, is this really the right direction I need to be going in? Hopefully that makes sense, because that's kind of like hard to explain. And then let's go into the moon in Gemini. So a lot goes on when the moon gets to Gemini. So on the later end of Gemini, Mercury will go back direct, and the sun is now in Pisces. This is another testing period where we start to gain more mental clarity, while our focus shifts from more logic to more about what we feel. We'll still be reacting and responding to logic, but it'll be scattered a little bit. And we have to use that fixated mentality that we're building upon in order to keep focused and keep anchored. So off the bat, you already know. So it's going to be like this interesting shift between us being so mentally focused to us actually having the ability to tap back into our feelings, right? But you want to make sure that you're not getting too scattered in it, because the moon going to be going into it's in Gemini. So while Mercury goes back direct, we get that mental clarity. We have that trine, that gift between our thoughts and our feelings. But you want to make sure that you're not getting too scattered, because you might be reacting and responding to a bunch of new stuff. And so, like whenever the moon is in Gemini, we might just spread ourselves too thin in general. And then it creates a slight, it's going to create a, I said slight, but it's going to create a square, you know what I'm saying, where we're going to have to actually learn. And then what we're learning, though, and like the kind of cool thing about it is we'll have mental clarity, but we'll start to be, as we creep into Pisces now, we'll be tapping back into how we feel. So, it's really like learning about how we feel about things, and then learning probably, since the sun is going to be in Pisces, we might want to communicate, but you just want to make sure you learning what to communicate and who to communicate it to, because, there's still mad energy in Aquarius. So our associations are important right now, but they play the black backdrop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like all that energy in 11th house is going to shift into energy in the global 12th house, if that makes sense. When the sun gets into Pisces, all that energy that we were once focused on, like our associations, what we're clearing up now, is going to start to become our unconscious, our subconscious. I said unconscious. Our subconscious is going to start to become things that we are turning our head to. So you might get psyched up in the Pisces and that Gemini energy and just start communicating and forget what it is that you was actually trying to build, which is a new mentality that you're trying to build upon. And that new mentality comes with new associations. But you might create your own self-undoing process by being too far into that, you know what I'm saying, by getting too psyched up about how you feel. Now the feelings are coming back. But, the good thing is, like I said, if you've been planting good seeds, you'll have that mental clarity to be like, oh, hold up. We in a new, that ain't the vibe. You know what I'm saying? We on some new shit. You know what I'm saying? So you'll have new feelings that can actually support that new mentality, as the sun goes into Pisces and things of that nature. So, the key for this time, though, is just making sure that you anchored. And that anchor is going to be coming from whatever mentality you done built up until this point. And then when the moon gets into Cancer, so, the moon is home here. So this is going to be a comfortable time. But it's going to be like this. So I said, start to situate your vibe to gain comfortability in your new mentality. You may feel uncomfortable with your path, but this is your choice to initiate. This is your chance to initiate a new feeling about it. And basically what I mean by that is like, so off the bat, you should know that Cancer in conjuncts Aquarius. Cancer and Aquarius energy couldn't be too different, like completely different. Because Cancer deals with comfortability, the home, things, private things. Literally, Aquarius deals with public associations, the unknown, which can be known, but it's new situations that you are stepping into where you don't know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that energy off the bat doesn't get along with Cancer energy. So you might feel uncomfortable, but Cancer is always like, one thing I like about when the moon is in Cancer and just Cancer energy in general is that you are the initiator of the vibe. Don't forget that. Don't forget that when the moon is in Cancer, you don't have to wallow in your sorrows. You can push out a new feeling and learn how to get comfortable. Make the situation comfortable. And that's kind of what we have to do. We in this new mentality. By this time, you're going to be far away from what you once was associated with. And at this point, you might feel all alone, but you got to create a feeling to where you can be comfortable in that new space that you've been developing and working upon. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is a big, like, look, the one of the strongest, realest things you can learn in this lifetime is how to get comfortable with uncomfortable shit on every level. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. And I wanted to say also, when the moon is in Gemini, just going back real quick, it's also going to be on top of the North Node. So just keep that in mind too. That when the moon hits Gemini and Cancer, it'll probably be an uncomfortable time. You know what I'm saying? When really all we going through is uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, all we going through is uncomfortable. But when the moon is actually in Cancer, it's going to be a sextile with Uranus and Mars as well for a little bit. So, with the Uranus thing, being an individual, that's like the key. That's the underlying factor of all this shit, is being an individual. You know what I'm saying? Because let's see, in that Taurus moon, what makes sense also you're going to be able to make sense out of your individuality as well. So you're already been making sense out of your individuality, but when the moon passed through here, it's like along with all that reevaluation energy or just that making sense out of your experiences, you get to comparing and contrast it with how well are you being an individual. So don't lose that, that facet. But just to wrap up the Cancer moon and remind y'all where we are creating a new feeling to get comfortable with whatever uncomfortable shit that we're going through. These new mentalities, these new changes. Get comfortable with that new mentality and situate yourself in that vibe so that going into Leo moon, when the moon gets into Leo, we can solidify these new feelings that we initiated and develop confidence in this new mentality. And so that's kind of what you can do when the moon is in Leo. So it's still going to be opposing a lot of that stellium energy, but that you can create balance by just using this energy to not overexpress yourself, but to instead create a sense of internal confidence in your new mentality. And this is also a heightened time for creativity, because this is literally my energy, really. Pisces Sun, Leo Moon, that's literally my energy. So this is like that highly creative energy, but you want to make sure that you spent the time in Cancer Moon creating that new feeling and opportunity. Creating that new feeling to be comfortable in that new mentality, and in that way, in here, you can actually participate in that fixed fire, aka fixating yourself in that new feeling and actually having confidence, because that's what Leo brings, confidence, the ability to shine and stand with your chest out. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you solidifying that shit, and then you develop that confidence. And then finally, last but not least, we get into the full moon in Virgo. And so at this point, there's no need to over address or obsess about the details. You've built a strong enough mentality to where now you can start to apply it to your dreams and pinpoint the necessary details to bring them to life without feeling unsure or held back by toxic associations. And so that's like, since the moon is, you already know, when the moon is full, that's when we done filled up the moon. Throughout what I just spoke about, we done worked our ass off to where now we don't have to overdo that energy that we in for the full moon. We can actually sit back and chill on this energy and participate, balance it with the opposite. So the opposite would be Pisces, where the sun is at. So you already know, instead of assessing about the details, we should have already been putting things in place to where we have a strong enough mentality to where we already on top of our shit. Also, Aquarius deals with organization. So that's like a, like, even though that's an inconjunct with Virgo, that's where they actually get along at, is they both organize things. It's just the way they might organize. Virgo might be more pinpointed on the details. Aquarius might be just organizing socially, or organizing information, or organizing things based upon a whole different system. You know what I'm saying? Where Virgos might be organizing based upon details, and they might be categorizing, if that makes sense. Like the difference between organizing and categorizing. You know what I'm saying? Categorizing, I feel like, it's more like looking at the deets. Like for instance, it's like you could organize like a library, right? It's like the library is organized because all the books is in shelves, and like there's the sci-fi, and then there's the action, and then there's the comedy, right? But then Virgo goes in and categorizes everything, aka I'm gonna put this in the alphabetical order. I'm gonna put the little number, the little decimal system and things of that nature. All that shit is like the inner workings of that organization, if that makes sense. But point is, the point is that when the full moon is in Virgo, we don't have to overdo the analyzation. Everything should be already laid out and organized to where we are gonna, since the moon is in that spot, we are gonna participate and react and respond to the details, but it'll be less intense. We don't have to overdo it, and that won't lead to over worrying. Instead, we can actually use that energy for our dreams, aka that opposition, that 12 that Pisces energy. You know what I'm saying? The opposite energy to that Virgo, so that we don't have to overdo. Because if you planted bad seeds, by the time the full moon comes, you'll be trying to over obsess about every detail, over communicate. Probably, worry and stress yourself to death, because like nothing is organized the right way, or you don't build a mentality that actually doesn't support what it is that you're trying to manifest, which is our dreams. You know what I'm saying? But because the full moon and you've been planting good seeds, you'll be able to apply all of that Virgo energy to your dreams. And remember, Everything is a progression. So we already been leading. Now we in Pisces season. So we're actually participating with our dreams at this point. So you want to make sure that you in a sufficient enough space to where you can actually manifest those things to come true and be real. You know what I'm saying? Like Virgo gives, yeah. So that full moon in Virgo, boom, you can take that energy and start to construct your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Basically, and now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? There ain't even nothing left to say. Everything is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? Everything is in the pudding. I don't like the word pudding, to be honest. It's a weird word to me. Pudding. You know what I'm saying? It's like up there with moist. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, much love. Hopefully that was helpful. And I do offer these moon readings. So, you know, I look at your specific moon and I kind of break it down. And these are really quick readings that I can do for, you know, a pretty good price. And so, you know, just email me at davebeyond95@gmail.com if you would like a moon phase reading. Or if you want to remember, I'm still doing a sale on creative consultation. So, you know, if you, you know, have any, you want to order one of those, just email me and, you know, we can get that going on. And I still got the sale going on to the end of Aquarius season. And so, like, you know, it's only a couple days left, you know what I'm saying? So hit me up. You know, I just finished another one. So I'm cleared up again. You know, I'm cleared up again right now. So, yeah, so get at me, man. And like I said, much love, and I wish y'all all more power, more love, more everything that you feel as though you need, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully you're not in need. Hopefully you know that you can be satisfied with whatever energy you in. So instead of saying more power to those in need, I'm just saying more power to you, more love to you, and more satisfaction to you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being here, and peace.